Okay. What's up, Cowboys Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Star Chasers, Girls Talk Ball. Thank you all so much for joining us this evening. As always, I have my girl Star in the building. How you doing tonight, sis?
What's up? What's up, guys? Glad to be here. Haven't been. I don't think we've gone live like a couple weeks or whatever, but
Yeah. Yeah,
been
holiday season is crazy time, y'all. Me and Star were just talking about that. It's just a crazy
now
time of year. I'm sure as everybody knows.
right. We got day jobs. Last week I couldn't do it because I had a hearing that I had to prepare for. 'Cause I know I'm a lawyer, so it was just a lot of stuff. Like Mickey said,
Yeah.
day job. Like it's just a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff is rolling, so like the shows may be sporadic, especially in the holiday season. But hopefully,
Yeah.
when January hits, the season finally ends. Thank God. You know what I'm saying? The season, well, our
Right.
this ends. I know the playoffs or whatever you go, but our season finally ends. Then we
Yeah.
can pick it back up. Because then at that time, then we can start to figure out, okay, who is going to be our head coach? Is Mike starts returning? Are we getting a new head coach? If
Right.
so, then looking into the draft and all that type of stuff. So
Yeah.
y'all just bear with us, please, over this holiday season. All right. Anyways,
Yeah.
hope
No,
everybody.
just like you were saying, Star.
Mhm. Please like the video. Please share the content. Please subscribe
Yeah.
to our YouTube channels if you haven't already.
Yeah, just like Star was saying, yeah, busy time of the year, and busy time for the Cowboys as well. They had games, and I think it was 11, 12 days, something like that. We had the Thanksgiving Day where they play on Thursdays and things like that. So, just for the short week, and it's another short week. Technically this week as well. Playing on Monday and then having to turn around and play on Sunday versus the Panthers having to travel as well. So just the Cowboys always have a hectic time schedule this time of year. So a shout out to them and prayers to them. And I always just kind of always just me personally I always have this feeling about Thursday night games and just not just the Cowboys but really any team. And we just me watching the games on Thursdays, we see that happen with the players. Injuries tend to happen a little bit more. Of course, a short week means less rest for these
Yeah.
guys. And even we've heard some of the guys talk about and some of their availability, how they handle some of the short weeks. Kind of looking at veterans like a Brandon Cooks or even Kendricks this year kind of spoke about, on his weekly show, I believe in 105.3 The Fan, about how he kind of prepares for the short weeks. Even McCarthy talks about how this time of year, also on top of all that, with the short weeks, they don't have as many practices. They have less physical practices, if you will. More so walkthroughs. They even said today that they had walkthrough Wednesday. That's some of the practices, some of the injury reports actually come out. During these times, we're actually able to see and kind of get engaged with some of these guys. When they don't sometimes towards the year this time of the year they may not actually need practice. Veterans like CD Lamb, he's missed some practices. We know he's really facing a banged up year this year. That's one thing I want to give my flowers to CD Lamb, because that's how in my opinion, just speaking for me, how I believe he's kind of showing his leadership, how he's showing how just battling through a tough shoulder. We see every time he lands on it, every time. And there's players, it may not be intentional, but we see opposing teams kind of hit his shoulder when they're defending him, things like that. So I really want to just send my flowers to him just showing his grit, showing his leadership, and he speaks about leading other guys in the wide receiver room and just showing it. And he missed that time during training camp, and he could, and we see him, kind of out during the game, but we even saw him come back on the last, the Cowboys' last possession drive, just to even try and make an impact on the field. So I want to give my flowers to him, just shout to him, just kind of battling through what he's going through with his shoulder.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, and I agree with that. I definitely would like to give, CD some
Yes.
claps because I think he has done a really good job. And I said that, I think I tweeted that out like a couple weeks ago. I feel like he's really been. I feel like this time with Dak being out, he kind of felt like I need to be a leader. Because I mean, yeah, you are. I mean, you the second leader in charge. If Dak is not here, I mean, it is you on the offensive side of the ball. Because who else is? You can
Yeah.
say Martin and whatever. Of course, Dak Martin, but when it comes to the best player on the field on the offense,
Right.
it is you and some other offensive linemen, but you're the best player skill position wise. So
Yeah.
I'm very proud of CD because I have seen a different side of him, and I think this is kind of forced this year of adversity, really for him and Micah. I think has forced
Yeah.
him to really to really step up and step up into that leadership role. So for CD, is that going down? For Micah, B Law, because those were the two competing voices. But now since
Right.
it's out, now Micah has a more opportunity to find his voice in the league, and he knows every play. I've got to be going 100% because
Yeah.
I've got to lead these guys. I've got to lead these young guys, and him being out for 6 weeks, I think also took a toll on him. And so now he's really, he's trying to go extra hard because
Yeah.
he knows that the game is not promised. So a real shout out to CeeDee Lamb, Michael Parsons, those young leaders, really stepping up and trying to do their best to lead this team
Yeah.
during this is a very, very hard season. I mean, you could even see, like, especially with CD, his spirit is down, and you can tell, like, he's
Yeah.
still playing. I think he's like second in the league in reception yards, stuff like that. So he's still doing all
Facts.
he's supposed to do, but you can just tell, like, his spirit is down. I think part of that too is he obviously said he was like, when you lose your quarterback, it takes the wind out of you. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
like, it's a very long shot. Even if we were to make it to playoffs, it's a very long shot that a backup
Yeah.
quarterback like Cooper Rush is about to get
Right.
the Super Bowl. It's like,
Right.
you for real.
Right. No, I feel you. So that,
Yeah. So, well, shout out to 100 Grand too in the chat. Appreciate you.
yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, appreciate you. Yeah, no, I'm definitely glad that you brought that you also brought up Micah as well, because I think as far as speaking to Micah, I think he's kind of showing, just in my opinion, I think he's showing his leadership by connecting with the other players. We kind of seen it since camp, kind of connecting with some players on offense and defense. But I love that that we see Parsons and Overshown, of course, before the injury, but and also now during the injury, just seeing the emotion that he kind of that kind of came from Micah in
Yeah,
this post game interview.
that
You know
was,
what I'm saying? Since like, right. Like a lot of people, just kind of took it, for face value, and people were saying some things, but it's just like, that's when I really, fully, it kind of cemented it, at least for me, just seeing just the connection between Parsons and Overshown. And just, we've always just wanted, we always know that Parsons gives 100%. He's the best player on our defense, best player on the team, that we say at times. And it's just like, we always just looking for a counterpart, right? Somebody that can not necessarily spell Michael, but somebody that can, outside of D-Law, we're looking for someone that can kind of help, kind of also be a star, kind of also be a star, what I'm saying, right, on the field, that can kind of just, that, that all the focus is necessarily on 11, right? And we kind of seeing that, right, with the development of Overshown, and just seeing the firepower from them both. I'm saying, the closing speed from them both. And I was reminded of Micah's closing speed yesterday. What was it, Monday night? When he was chasing Burrow to the sideline. I'm like, just these two outstanding players. It's just crazy just how much that and that they've grown individually, but also I love the relationship that they've kind of built with each other. And just like I was saying, with just the emotion that Michael showed in his post game interview, and that everyone showed. Anytime before Monday, anytime that Overshown is on the ground for longer than a few seconds, everyone is like, what's going on? Is he
Right.
good? Are you good? Before we go any further, you know what I'm saying? And
Right.
just the way that the
Yeah,
team surrounds him. Yeah.
right. He definitely has established himself, or was beginning to establish himself as a leader. And
Yeah.
I think today is Zimmer's presser. Either today or yesterday, I saw a quote on Twitter that Zimmer was saying that the plan was to play Micah more at linebacker this year, but because of the rise of Overshown, that's why Micah has been pretty much an edge this year, because they were like, well, with the
Yeah. Okay.
Overshown, like, we don't want him off the field. So,
Right.
now Zimmer, so those are two. So two potential Robins to Micah's Batman and Sam Williams, because remember, Zimmer said Sam was supposed to play 75% of the time.
Facts. Right. Right.
Pivotal key pieces, and then now Overshown goes down. So now you got two pivotal key pieces for this man's defense that went out.
Yeah.
You know, guys that have that, of course they're not Micah, but they have traits like Micah. They have the speed. They have the power, because Sam Williams.
Right. And also, not to cut you off, but also command the attention. So not just, another player on the field that command the attention.
Right. So when you look, then you got D-Law, who So it's like when you realize how many pieces Zimmer was missing and
Right.
how the defense seems like they're finally getting it and finally being able to come along. It really is a
Yeah.
beautiful thing. And I do agree that um, you have to at least consider Mike Zimmer, bringing Mike Zimmer back for as a DC or bringing him back as a head coach. Just for the
Yeah.
simple fact of it took a while for this defense to really get this system, but now that they've gotten it, it's like we really want to start them all over. You know what I'm saying? So those are some things that you really got to consider. When you're like,
Yeah.
okay, get rid of these coaches, let's switch the coaches. You know what I'm saying? And Zimmer has been dealt a horrible, horrible hand. You know what I'm saying? Mike
Yeah.
McCarthy, you was dealt what? Brandon Cooks going out, and then eventually Dak went out, but for a while
Yeah.
we were still in contention. Like Mike McCarthy, you wasn't dealt a bad hand. That's why, I put on our thumbnail, Bill Belichick's out. It's a good segue because I'm like, now, I don't know if y'all heard,
Yeah.
but Bill Belichick is now going to be the coach of University of North Carolina,
Right.
which, yeah, so University of North Carolina. So obviously, he was my top candidate who I said I wanted to be the next head coach if Mike left. And so I'm so sad about it, but I'm like, okay, well, I guess this wasn't in the cards. And then, I'm honestly glad that this happened now than us wondering all, for
All
Jerry to be
season.
right, for Jerry and the media to be able to stir up drama like, oh, Bill Belichick,
Okay.
just for us not to pick him because that would piss me off. So I think,
Yes.
I'm glad at least now we know like he's not coming here. So now you have to just choose like, well, with Bill Belichick going in, who else are you gonna bring in here that has Mike McCarthy Sr.? There is none really,
Right.
besides what Riverboat Ron Rivera. Absolutely,
No.
now you're going to have to go with a younger. Either you're going to go stick with Mike McCarthy, or you're going to have to go with a younger coach like a Mike Vrabel or a
Right.
Ben Johnson. But I mean, you can throw his name in there, Ben Johnson, or
Yeah.
who else would be like a young head coach candidate? I think, or like a Jason Witt.
Maybe. Oh, maybe I mean, it's kind of random. I know. I'm trying to think of maybe, because I know the coordinator for the Bears, he got elevated right now for as far as temporary head coach. Maybe the offensive coordinator for the Saints. I'm sure they'll be looking for jobs. Kind of
So,
stepping into those
UVA,
roles.
right? Those are options
Yeah.
as well. Yeah, so yeah,
Yeah.
you got those options. So now it's like you're really gonna have to either stick with Mike or you're gonna have to go with unexperienced or inexperienced and hope that these, these
Something.
right, these new young innovative
Right.
minds can survive in Dallas when we know it's hard to tell for any coach, even coaches
Right.
like Mike McCarthy, like Bill Parcells, like Jimmy Johnson. It's hard.
Exactly. And you pretty much just named like three solid and like you said, tenured head coaches who have been under Jerry. So if all three of those I'm not gonna say headstrong, all of them aren't necessarily headstrong. I wouldn't say that, Parcells and McCarthy are the same type of personality, but as far as like, head coaches who, know what they're doing, stand 10 toes, have a good tenure, being under Jerry, if they, like you said, if they not saying they couldn't handle it, but if they went through what they went through under Jerry, like
Difficult. It's gonna be difficult because we know how Jerry meddles. Like Dak said last week in his interview with Glory Epstein and Mike McCarthy, I'm not sure why because that's what I'm thinking. Like either I'm kind of jumping in thought, but Dak came out and said Mike needs to come back on his terms, basically saying
yeah.
it hasn't been his terms the whole time we've been here. The content creators we've been so if y'all been following us, y'all should know. Like, yeah, of course, Jerry Meadows. He determines he's going in the locker room, breaking down a team after loss. It's like he's a weirdo.
Facts.
What are you doing?
Right.
I was like, no, he determined who get the ball. I want him to play all this stuff. So Mike
Right.
McCarthy come out and Mike McCarthy be like, oh no, I've had more. Mike McCarthy came out and lied because he's talking about, oh, I've had more control here than in Green Bay.
I was kind of like thrown off by that because I'm just like,
What?
every time
we know that's a bold faced lie. Like Mike McCarthy
Right.
is fine, and I think he did.
They
That's why,
came in giving you their head or giving you their coordinator. So how is
right?
that
It's
more
like
control?
exactly. You never had no right. You was had full autonomy at Green Bay all the way up until the end. So I'm saying with Mike McCarthy, him changing his tune because just 3 weeks ago you was trashing Jerry and Steven in the media, saying if it was me, I would have had my players here in April. And I would have done this.
Right.
I would have done that. But all of a sudden now you defending Jerry. That makes me think that you and Jerry have had some type of talks where either you already know you coming back
Yeah.
or you know there's a high chance for you to come back.
Yeah.
That's how I feel because it's like why did your verbiage or your tune change all of a sudden?
Yeah.
Because all of a
And
sudden you defend Jerry, like it was weird. It was like okay, so yeah,
yeah. And for me, not just McCarthy, I guess kind of defending Jerry, but for me it was kind of weird that and I don't know if he was pressured into it and I don't like maybe more so media pressure into it, but Micah kind of saying, yeah, I want McCarthy to come back too. It was just like we just had to kind of decipher your comments a couple of weeks ago, like you like
right.
you said a lot that Mike has never really come out and said McCarthy this, McCarthy that.
I
Like
did
we almost rarely hear Micah talk, even say McCarthy's name. You know what I
right
mean?
exactly.
So it's
So
just
now
like oh, for
also
me, it's kind of like Micah saying, oh yeah, he can come, bring McCarthy back. Yeah, why not? We should want him to come back. It was kind of just like, okay, so are you saying it because it was before he said anything? There was a lot of media saying, well, Micah hasn't said that he wants McCarthy back. Does Micah want McCarthy back? Because a lot, of course we also we look at Dak's word, but we also look at Micah's word. You know what I'm saying? So it's just what is both the leaders of the team saying, right? You know what I'm saying? They didn't necessarily bring up CD. He's on the offensive side of the ball. I'll assume that he would want McCarthy back. Maybe on the different, because it was a McCarthy choice for him to be out of camp. You know what I mean? So right after everything happened, Micah's like, yeah, we should have, and then now the story's coming out. Yeah, Micah says he wants to put everything back into motion, even including McCarthy. I'm like, for me, asterisk after media pressure. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like,
yeah,
and just like, and the same thing with Cowboys Nation too. Yeah,
I
just
agree
quickly,
with
just quickly with Cowboys Nation. It's just like now all of a sudden, not everybody, because a lot of people still saying that he's being goofy with the play calls, things like that. But now it's just saying now should McCarthy come back, and now it's just like this whole like you said, whole media swell is just like we should probably expect him, or like if not expect him, where should be talks of should possible him returning.
right. I mean, Troy Aikman came out and said that if he had to say today, he thinks Mike is coming back. And Micah very well because he would not answer that question. He kept saying it's above my pay grade. It's above my pay grade.
Exactly.
Like we know he's the most winningest coach and he's been good to me. But for him to come out and say, do like an actual endorsement and not skirt around the question again, it's
Right.
like, why the change? Unless y'all already know Mike McCarthy is coming back and y'all are trying to use somebody said this on Twitter. I don't remember who it was, but they were like telling me they were like, I think Mike McCarthy is already extended and they're using Dak and Micah to kind of test the waters to see basically how the fan base responds to it. So I'm like,
That's interesting. Okay.
I was like, that is an interesting theory. I was like,
Yeah.
it is possible because something has changed. I don't know what. I don't know what has changed, but Mike McCarthy's tune has changed. Dak coming out and doing a out of nowhere, I'm just gonna do a full interview saying I want Mike McCarthy,
Right.
and then Micah, who was avoiding the question at all costs, then does an interview and says I want Mike McCarthy back.
Right.
So it just seems like okay. So I don't know. I really don't know. And my issue though with this, like, let's talk about bringing Mike McCarthy back. If he's brought back, like in my opinion, he has to be stripped of play calling. But I don't
Yeah.
think that if Mike McCarthy's going to give that up. And I'm like, I don't want you. If Mike McCarthy stays, bro, it's like I don't want you to stay the play caller, and I also want you to fire
Right.
your staff. But I don't see Mike McCarthy doing that. I don't
He's
see him
definitely
firing. I don't see him firing uh Jeff Blasco. I don't see
right.
him firing Scott McCurry
Schottenheimer.
or Shoddy or I mean Shoddy should need to take over play calling honestly. But I don't see Mike McCarthy firing anybody that needs to be a
Right.
Bones. I'm done with
Right,
Bones.
Bones. Oh my
I want
gosh, bro! Like for real, I love Bones, but it's just like your guys are making. You had the best special teams in the league, but sometimes the mistakes are huge, man.
season in a row. He got the best kick return. 2 seasons in a row, your side of the ball has made crucial mistakes in big games.
Right.
It is showing me that you don't have any control or discipline over your guys. I think it's because he allows them to make their own calls, he allows them to do whatever. I hated the block punt. I know everybody's like, well, did you want to leave it in the hands of Cooper Rush? I'm like, listen, we have the best kick returner in the
Right.
give him a chance and get a guaranteed possession. When you
Right. And we moved the ball.
we're moving the ball, and it's like when you do a block punt, should we have recovered it? Yes, but it's up to chance, and clearly not everybody on that side of the ball was prepared for it. Like on
Exact.
Monday, he wasn't. It was almost
Facts.
like when you saw the players, like they were frantic around, like they weren't expecting Nick Vigil to block
Right.
just they didn't get the ball because they're like, oh shoot, the ball is down, and everybody's just scrambling around, falling all over the place, like they didn't even know it was coming.
And what's crazy is it's almost like you said, it's almost like because you can see Marist and at the end I think maybe Turpin, because like Marist was kind of waving it off and like it's like maybe some players knew what was going on, some players didn't, and I usually don't even listen to what Jerry talk, what Jerry really says, but I I like the point that he made, that he said like, hey, if you know you're gonna plan and go for a block punt, then everybody should be on the same page before you even hit the field. Yo, if we get this, because like you said, like it may not be a chance we get it, but if we get it, don't touch the ball, run away from the ball. Like, and like Jerry said, like everyone should have been prepared and everyone should have known if you're going to do that, then you should know what the action should be after if it happens.
That's what I'm saying. And what's up, Keystone? Glad to see you.
Yeah,
But
shout out to Keystone and shout out to JV as well.
that's what I'm saying. Like his guys are just never on the same page, and he ends up
Right.
hurting. His side of the ball hurts us because
Yeah.
even with the penalties, like for 2 seasons, your side of the ball hurts us more than they help us. The only reason why his side of the ball helps us, the only reason, is because of Cavante Turner.
Absolutely. I mean, I think almost every game outside of maybe this game, maybe the past few games, I think we've had a flag, a penalty on every special teams kickoff.
Literally, almost every single special teams kickoff, it's a penalty.
Right.
Crucial penalties on with guaranteed possession penalties. Now instead of our possession, is their possession.
Right. And I like the point that you made, because I also feel like Bones, like he's a really cool guy. I was listening to one of
Right,
Turpin's interviews, and he says that Bones really gets to know the players. He gets to know their strengths and weaknesses, and kind of try to helps them, kind of get them segue into the game, through that avenue. But it's just like maybe he's just
right,
a little bit too. I don't want to say too personable, because you want a coach to be on that level with the players, but at the same time, they gotta have that discipline within
right,
them,
right.
like an accountability.
Right. He's like a Dan Quinn type of coach. And I think
Yes, yes, yes. And
they're
I think in the coach and
go ahead. I mean, yeah, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, and the players kind of look. He's kind of like the avenue the players look to kind of get into the game. So he's the one. I don't say he's the only one giving them chances, but he's kind of the way for these players to kind of get into the game. Because they have to get game ready. So they're looking to him for opportunities. So he's giving opportunities, but then when they make mistakes, I didn't listen to his presser, but shout out to Jazz Monet. I was listening to just a little bit of her and Candy's show this morning that they did, I believe, last night, and she was just talking about how that he wasn't really, trying to Amani Oruwariye accountable because he was saying, don't blame him because of the play and things like that. But I like the point that she made because she said, like, look, man, everyone should have been made aware of what to do on that play. So when you do go into the game and he makes a whiff like that, and she actually kind of broke it down and say, like, hey, when you look at the game kind of in sections, like the offense and defense did what they needed to do. So then when it comes down to that moment and you make that whiff, yeah, you could make a point that that's what cost them the game. So it's just like you hate to put that on that player's shoulder, but at the same time, like how wasn't he aware?
It's not. And what's up, Big Brother West Coast? Big Brother West Coast in the
Hey,
building.
shout out to West Coast. What's up? What's up? What's
Glad to
up?
see you, West Coast, for sure. But y'all know go subscribe to West and everything like that in the chat. But
Yeah.
everybody already subscribed to West. But
Right.
if
Yeah.
you're not making comments, go subscribe to West Coast. But yeah, I just think that with Bones, I definitely think. I mean, there's just a different. You don't want to put the player down. So it's like I get Bones saying like I don't want to uh make it feel like you're the reason why we lost. But at the
Right.
same time, players do need to be held accountable. But at the same time, Bones is probably also taking the responsibility because it really is ultimately on you. You can
Right.
say Amani Warrior, but hey, this man was on IR. He was just pulled up back in
Exactly.
the team. So it was Bones' job to make sure, and on our IR means he's not practicing. So it was on Bones to make sure that everybody was properly prepared, and he didn't do it. That's my
Right.
issue with Bones Hostel. This is my issue with Mike McCarthy. It's like I can give you one chance, two chance, three chance, but when the same stuff that keeps happening over and over and over again, how do you
Yeah.
expect me to trust how do you and right now and as much as and I've been thinking about it, I'm like I love Mike Tyson so much, but I don't trust him. I don't trust him with play calling. I don't trust that in big games he can have the guys ready emotionally and mentally because he haven't showed us that. And to me, he keeps banging his head against the wall. Somebody made a comment about Rico. Uh, yeah, Rico has remained.
JB.
Rico has been running well, but
Yeah.
Mike still can't get up to his 30 for 30, the 30 rushing attempts that he said that should be made with a backup quarterback. Those last three drives or two drives before the last drive, uh,
Yeah.
before the last drive, Mike, all you had to do was just keep running the ball. That's it. Like Rico was getting not 3 yards a carry, he's getting 7.5 yards per carry. He was
Says
he was destroying the Bengals defense. And
like
apparently Rico has been like a top running back in the league since like week 13 or whatever. Like he's breaking more
right.
tackles than Jameer Gibbs. So it's like this kid is running hard, but you don't want to put the ball in his hands. You want to put it in Cooper Rush's hands.
And we've seen what Cooper Rush does when the ball is literally in his hands. Like when the defender is in Cooper Rush's face, like I don't know if he just gets scary. I understand throwing the ball away, dirting the ball, not trying to turn the ball over. But the defender is maybe like 5 feet from me, and you throwing that joint straight into the dirt. Like I'm looking at you, like bro, like nobody. You can look for nothing. You know what I'm
And
saying? You can't scramble for a couple yards.
right,
Like that's when I get like Cooper. Like that's when Cooper reminds me of his backup quarterback. You know what I'm
exactly.
saying?
That's why but Cooper Rush is a good backup quarterback. If you do ground and pound like we did in 2022 and give him as much limited time to throw the ball as possible, Cooper Rush can throw the ball accurately. Does he have
Yeah.
an arm? Yes. So with deep balls, things can get kind of iffy. But
Yeah.
as far as short intermediate routes, he's pretty accurate. He can make threes, but it's like Mike, you're trying to make your backup quarterback throw the ball 30 plus 30, 40 times a game. It's a disaster. That's why people are like, oh, I want to see Trey Lance because he's more exciting. I'm like, have y'all forgot who's calling the plays?
Right.
Y'all think Mike McCarthy about to be calling QB power and QB options all day long with Trey Lance. That is not who he is as a play caller. He gonna have Trey Lance passing the ball, and Trey Lance is not very good at that. He is not
Right.
very good at passing. He is not very good at making decisions. We've seen that. He's not very good at that right now. So
Yeah.
we're kind of here at a. You really would want Cooper Rush running it, but you're not. You're not using Cooper Rush correctly.
Right.
You
And
want
even Mike McCarthy even said at the beginning that he still wish that he would got Rico more carries. And it's like, bro, like how many more times you gonna say that for real?
that. That's why I've like literally. I don't even listen to the coach's interviews anymore because to me it's just like a wah 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 wah. Like they just
Yeah.
say the same thing every week and
Yeah.
don't change it. They say the
Right.
same
'Cause-
shit every week and don't change a damn thing. That's why I'm like, you know,
yeah.
I'm
Because
just
like you got the 22 carries, like you couldn't get 25. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, even that not on those specific plays, like running the ball, but even just for me, almost throughout the whole third quarter, it's like it just kind of like dried up, and it's like, bro, like
because he stopped
I
running the
can,
ball. He
man,
said literally Rico ran like for 14 yards and then Mike said pass, 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 3 and out. The second time I think it was
right,
pass the same thing. And West Coast, he said Mike has a responsibility to get 88 the ball. He is. CD Lamb is leading the league in receptions.
yeah, even right,
He getting that ball. He getting
yeah,
it. So it's like at the ultimate goal, especially when you got your backup quarterback, should be to manage weather the storm and try to win games. But it's like with Mike McCarthy, I just don't trust Mike McCarthy anymore. And it's unfortunate. I really
yeah,
think that I will never say that he is a bad coach because I mean, this man has done stuff that no coach has done for us in 30 years. So I'm not about to say he's a bad coach. But what I will say is that he has flaws and he doesn't seem to know how to mitigate. He doesn't seem to know how to fix his flaws.
yeah,
And
and they seem to be showing more this year.
right, and he's yeah, right. And he doesn't seem to have anybody on his staff to help him. That's just how
Right. Or to
yeah.
or possibly somebody on his staff to be like, hey man, or someone to get in his tail. You know what I'm saying? Like say like you need to be running the ball. You need to be doing this.
Right.
You mentioned
And that's
Shaggy, like
right. You would
right.
be the one like, hey Mike, we're out of balance. Help me, help we need to get back to balance. But
Absolutely.
Schottenheimer doesn't do anything. It feels like he just does
That's
whatever Mike
exactly
tells him to do. So it's like, Mike, you're just full of you're full of a staff of just yes men.
yeah,
That's not going to help you. You're full of your
yeah.
homeboy. This is my homeboy from Green Bay. This is my homeboy from the Chiefs. This is my homeboy. It's like you just want to get all your
Right,
homies, and that's fine, but they're all yes men, and none of them
right.
are helping you be a better coach.
Right. I think maybe shot. I mean, I don't know if Schottenheimer is doing the play designs, but even still, some of the I like some of the play calls, but even some of the play designs, I'm kind of just like, what's going on? Because I think we've seen Turpin, and I want to say Schoonmaker in the same area. I'm like, some of these play designs have two receivers in the same area. It's kind of like confusing. You know what I'm saying? Like, so maybe Cooper, like either the receiver doesn't know who's supposed to be going for the ball, or Cooper doesn't know who's supposed to be going to. I think at one point, like when CD ran, like at the red zone when CD ran to the two defenders, I know CD ran into him, but then it's just like Cooper doesn't see Ferguson wide open. It's just like I don't know. We talk about vision, vision and stuff like that, but it's just like this. I'm gonna be wondering where Cooper be looking at sometimes because it's like, is he only kind of zoned in on the receiver he's going for? You know what I mean? It's just like does he look at the whole field. That's my concern with Cooper Rush.
Yeah, I think with Cooper Rush, I mean he's limited. He's limited. You know what I'm saying? And it is very hard. It's very hard for a Cooper Rush, as a backup quarterback, not to stare down receivers and do all this type of stuff. Like those are traits for starters and elite quarterbacks.
Yeah, facts.
He's just who he is, which is a backup. That's why you don't want to be dependent on him. You want to use
Right.
Cooper Rush to help you manage games. You're trying to use Cooper Rush like you use Dak. And I know people will say, oh, well, Dak was struggling too. I'm like, Dak was struggling, one, because the offensive line was completely unstable,
Facts.
and because him and CD was not on the same page,
Right.
or because his weapons is slipping and falling and not running routes and all of this type of stuff. Like you really look at
Right.
Dak six games, right? You really look at it. Did he have some games where it's like, oh, this was not the best? Like you could say 49ers game wasn't the best, right? Seems like the 49ers game always has Dak sometimes. But then there's other games where you're like, Dak actually played pretty well and we still lost. You know what I'm saying? Because we can't score
Yeah.
in the red zone. Him and CD not on the same page. Mike McCarthy won't run the ball. So people are teeing off
Facts.
on the field. They're teeing off on Tyler Guy. It's just it's like a freaking it's a just a revolving or just a recurring
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. It's always something. It's
Always something. That's what I'm
always
saying.
something.
You want to, and I know the stats are the stats or whatever, but at the same time, it's like there was a lot of factors that were like now the offensive line is more stable. Why? Because I feel like they finally got into a rhythm. Mike is finally running the ball more, so they look better. But with that, he wasn't running the ball. He wasn't trying to
Right.
run. He was
Right.
way
And
out
you
of
didn't see it on the play action either. We saw, at least in my opinion, I feel like we see more play action now with Cooper Rush. Oddly enough.
right. We wait. What's up, David? That's my guy, David Tyrone Church. That's
It was,
you guys.
it
But
was
yeah,
good, Tyrone. Good, David.
absolutely. We were not doing play. Dak was saying that. He's like, I want to do more play action, but we can't do
Right.
it. Why? That's another thing people forget about. The controversy of the running back. That was Mike McCarthy and Jerry Jones going at it.
Well, exactly.
So we couldn't
Exactly.
stick to the run games like the 49ers game. You stick to the run with Z, you win. Mike didn't want to stick to the run with Z because that's not who he wanted. He wanted Rita.
Right. Right.
You see that they were fighting. So finally, when they stopped fighting, and Jerry just gave up and was like, "Okay, Mike, let's use Rico." Then now Mike's running the ball more. He's still not running it as much as he should, but that's why he's
Right.
running the ball more. When Dak was here, it was just all of this just internal controversy. CD still off and still trying to learn the languages, the new add-ins, and all this stuff. So
Right.
this season, it was definitely a season where now that you look back on it, Mike McCarthy definitely. Now the injuries, I will say that nobody could foresee the amount of injuries that we have faced. That and the
Yeah.
injury plays a huge part in us losing. Huge, 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 huge. But even with that, the way we handled the offseason with Dak, CD, and Mike McCarthy, it was forecasted that this was not going to be a good season. Now, will
Yeah.
we? I think even if we were fully healthy, do I still think that this team would have eventually come along and we might have could have snuck in the playoffs? Yes, I do believe that. Fully healthy. But
Yeah.
when your team's not fully healthy and you got dysfunction,
Facts. In fact, 'cause I saw your tweet last night when you mentioned, when you talked about the play calling with Mike McCarthy, because I felt the exact same way. You know what I'm saying? Like it had me exciting. It kind of took me back to when the last time we played Cincinnati. Having Cooper Rush, having that standout defense who was getting those turnovers at the time. That's why we had that confidence back then that we could kind of take on, the Bengals who were coming off the Super Bowl the previous season. So even just seeing the first, I'll say the first drive, the first quarter, I'll say just in general, but the first drive, they're steadily moving down the field. You spread the ball around. You're running the ball you're supposed to. You get CD the ball in the end zone. And then of course, as the game goes on, we see creativity. We see Turpin. Turpin taking the snap. Like what? I had to do a double
right,
take at the replay because I'm like, wait a minute, no, I did see Cooper Rush back there.
right,
I'm like, whoa, like what's
and
going on? Like this the Cowboys.
Wildcats were amazing. It's like,
Right.
but then Mike also does dumb shit. Like, how many times do you have to see that Turpin is not a sideline? He is not a boundary wide receiver. The 49ers game plan should have told you that. But yet, you're still throwing deep sideline balls to Turpin and thinking he's going to catch it. He is 5
Right. Like, come on. All you have to do is push him to the outside. He's done. He's done. Like, he can't. Come on. It's almost like, and we talk about Turpin. I'm starting to say things about Cooks, too. I love Cooks. He got those crucial catches last week. But sometimes he gets spaced. Sometimes he gets phased out. I don't know if it's and I'm not. It's not a slight. I'm not taking a slight at his height. I'm just saying that it's kind of like with Turpin. Like
No, it
if
is
the
the
defender
type
gets
of
into the
dude. Like,
outside,
they're not
and I will say, I mean, control. I will say Cooper was has had some high passes. I will say that, but man, so
they're
like
not boundary wide receivers. Brandon
right.
Cook, Devontae Turpin are not boundary. What's up, Lou? Glad to see you, Lou.
It was good, Lou. Thanks
Yeah,
for joining us. Appreciate you. Yeah, make sure you guys subscribe to and you listen on the Twitter side as well, or the X side.
because
On the X
Lou,
side, make sure you guys follow him.
yeah, and Lou hit 1,000 subscribers. That's why I did that clap. So shout out to
Yeah,
you, Lou.
okay, nice.
Happy for you, Lou. Lou been putting in a lot of work. So
A lot.
happy for him that he finally hit that 1,000 subscribers for sure. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's like Mike McCarthy's like simple stuff. It's like you see, okay, Devontae Turpin goes off on a sling. Next game, Devontae Turpin's not running sling. He's running wildcat plays and deep side and vertical. Like I just don't know what to do.
And I don't understand why they don't know what works. Like you just said, like he's going off on the scene.
It's
Get there.
like he doesn't learn at all. I really am want to know like what the hell was Mike McCarthy doing all offseason. I feel like he was pissed off all
Hey.
I was like, I don't feel like you updated this offense. I don't feel like this offense. I feel like this offense took a major step back, actually. And going into
Absolutely.
offense doesn't take a step back. So I feel like Mike McCarthy was a disgruntled employee this season, and so he was checked this offseason, and so he was checked out.
Yeah.
He was pretty much checked out. Now his tune has changed when the season is already all but done. Like we're all
Right.
I mean, now we're 5-8. If we lose against the Panthers, I'm like, I mean, I guess we still want to be eliminated, but I mean, we're not making playoffs. And even if some team would have to do with just a major downfall, like win no game, and we would have to
Right.
lose the rest of our games to make playoffs. So we already know that's not happening. So it's like Mike McCarthy, now you trying, but you still effing up. You trying.
Right.
Like Bengals game, you should have won.
Right.
You lost. So it's just like,
Right, and that's at least that's for me. That's why I don't kind of take it down to the last play of the game because like we were just talking about, or like we were just like we were just discussing earlier. You know, if you had run the ball just a few more times, or at some of those opportune times when you could have converted those first downs. You know, I think we had maybe like two or three and outs between the third and fourth quarter. You know, saying those opportunities. You know what I mean? Like putting your defense right back on the field. You know what I'm saying? Like the defense sometimes didn't just have time to rest. So it's just like when you put your and actually something I want to talk about too, the defense's performance against the Bengals. I know we're talking about McCarthy heavy in this game, but I love just on the other side of the ball, starting the game off, number one, a 3 and out. I love seeing that they came out, at the line, showing pressure. Like I love, at least for me, I love the performances by Dono. I love Golston. Mozzie, had some great plays. You know what I'm saying? I just love the way that these guys kind of came together in this game.
Overshown Bears. I mean, the defense. I really do love the blitz packages and everything that Zimmer does. I mean, he be lighting it up. I mean, I really like our defense, and I actually prefer it to Dan Quinn's. Because Zimmer, he switches it up. I'm not saying he's perfect play caller or whatever, but Zimmer really has these guys playing, and it does seem like guys who were neglected under Dan Quinn, like Chauncey Golston and Izzy McQuamu and stuff. And Zimmer has just said, I'm going to use these guys. I'm going to try to find ways to put them on the field. So
I love that Izzy is in the game early now. Let me cut you off, but to tap on your point, he's getting there earlier now, not just when, if someone goes down or, last, like we kind of seen when he first started, like kind of like a last resort type thing. He's getting there in the game early, having a great snap.
He has packages for him and stuff now, so I really like that about him. I really like that he's embracing players, and he really is trying to find a spot for all of them and see their talents, and that's crazy because he didn't draft these players. And it's just unfortunate you have somebody like Dan Quinn, who, what's up, Nisi? And Big Brother West, we do not have a call-in line. We need to work on that. Maybe for 2025, we can start having a call-in line.
That's definitely something to work on.
But
that would be fire, for real.
Yeah, but we'll probably be for 2025 too. But yeah, I just think I don't know. Like, it's a big question mark with this coaching staff, and I mean maybe Mike McCarthy will change it up. Because if he resigns and then maybe they load him up with weapons, right? Maybe they say, okay, we're gonna go get you that running back. We're gonna go get you Ash Jensen. We're gonna go get you wide rec- go get you Isaiah Bond from there. We're gonna go get you some weapons, Mike. And then maybe we'll see Mike coach better and call plays better. Because right
Yeah.
now, in order to run Mike McCarthy's offense, and the thing is, Mike has innovation in his offense, but he doesn't stick to the innovation. He goes back to what he knows, which is
Right.
traditional type of West Coast type of plays and scheming. That's his problem. That's why I feel like either he needs to be in a tandem like for a while when it was Andy Reid and what's his name? Eric Bieniemy, how they call plays together, or he needs to give it up. That's my opinion. Either Mike needs to give up play calling altogether, or he needs to him and Scotty need to start calling plays as a tandem,
Yeah.
and then maybe that will help him be better. We know for sure though they if they wanna they need to get Mike McCarthy with him. He needs a
Yeah.
better. I understand Rico, and I applaud Rico. I think Rico has been doing a good job, but I'm not going in the next year saying, "Oh, Rico's my running back one." Because Jones will try to do that. They'll be like, "Oh, we can bring back Rico for $2, and then we'll just sign some cheap vet or some late round pick running back." I want us to go and get a premium running back, and then go get us a premium, a good wide receiver weapon. I really think top three picks. I would not be mad if it's running back, wide receiver, corner, not cornerback, but edge. Because I really think you're gonna need an edge, or you need an edge or a linebacker, because you're gonna have to
Yeah.
prepare for the replacement of Overshown. Because as they said, you hope Overshown come back maybe by mid end of season next year, but he probably not coming back till 2026, guys. So we definitely got to replace. Now you do have merit. That's another thing. You do have merit, but I think that
Yeah.
you need somebody. Maris is a person he can blitz. He can do a lot of coverage, but you need like an actual pass rusher. So I definitely think the first three picks for me, if I would choose, it would be wide receiver, running back, defensive end, or a pass rushing linebacker, or outside linebacker. I would think. But you said this is
Yeah. I definitely. Oh yeah, I was just bringing up the quote because we were, just talking about maybe some pieces to get for 2025. But we, of course, Stephen Jones talking about, money's going to be tight next year and trying to get players and things like that as far as free agency. But before we talk about that, I definitely agree with you as far as the defensive edge spot because at least in this past game like, against the Bengals, like I've seen at least in the third, fourth quarter, we've seen it last year as well. Micah Parsons on the sideline, kind of looking exhausted, kind of out of breath, kind of, gasping for breath. And I want somebody. I was kind of looking for Lawson in this game. Lawson had a decent past few weeks, kind of starting in Atlanta against the Falcons. And I was just I'm looking we're talking about, kind of a secondary piece to kind of spell Parsons. We're talking about Overshown, but he's at the linebacker, right? And we know that, we talk about Sam Williams being out. Talk about Demarcus Lawrence missing time as well, and McCarthy brought him up today. And actually, hasn't, he said he doesn't see him practicing this week, so it looks like we may not even see him as far as Demarcus Lawrence for the Panthers game. So,
we don't see DeMarcus.
Micah,
We shouldn't see him at all this year. I already said.
yeah, I mean I agree.
Aggravate the injury, like especially if you're planning on re-sign. If you're not going to re-sign them, then like bring them back. But if you're going to re-sign D-Law, just wrap it up so that you can have him healthy for next season. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
Who the hell knows? But anyway,
That's facts. Yeah, I agree with you. I just want another piece on the other side. 'Cause I know we would have both of D-Law and Mike at this time if D-Law hadn't been out. But just seeing Michael Parsons on the sidelines at some of those crucial spots. When the Bengals are in the red zone and having Mike on the sideline, I'm like, man, like how are we gonna get the pressure on the quarterback? How are we gonna be able to kind of stop them from scoring? And I just hopefully be able to pick up a nice piece in the offseason like you mentioned through the draft or possibly Sam Williams making a good return in 2025, just to have somebody who can kind of bring that semblance of pressure. But I just brought up this tweet because like I mentioned, Stephen Jones talking about next year. He said no. I think we're going to have a challenge this year and next year. It's going to be really really tight because we still have some money left over from some guys who aren't here today, and you're going to have some guys that won't be here in the future that you still have their cap count. So it's just like end quote. So I just kind of took this tweet. I'm sure some other maybe fans took it the same way I took it, but I kind of want your thoughts on this. Sis, that it's just that he's kind of we're not even out of the 2024 season just yet, and he's already talking about hey, next year is looking kind of tight. I'm looking at, just kind of speaking, randomly, I'm looking at my pockets and we may not have the money for these guys. We may not have this. We may not have that, what I'm saying, before we even get to the next season. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just like.
I mean, at this point, guys, like, Stephen Jones and Jerry Jones, they're not going to change their tune. The fans are going to have to put a lot of pressure on the front office to do this offseason. Because if you don't, and furthermore, they're gonna say that type of stuff. But if y'all know morale is down, and y'all know the fan base is like, if y'all are not showing up to the game, these home games really look like away. So unless you give a about fans coming and money and all of this type of stuff, you're going to have to make some moves where fans are going to act, especially if you keep Mike McCarthy here, who 90% of the fan base is out on him. You're going to have to bring in some exciting players to make people actually invest. Or this is going to be a repeat of next year will be a repeat of this year. So of course Stephen Jones is going to say that dumb shit, but it's just like it's up to us to be like, put the pressure on them in the off season and force their hand. Like that's the only way. That's like just like Boss Cowboy says, your voice matters. Whenever the fan base complains about something enough, it happens. So you gotta see everybody wasn't on the same page about Derrick Henry. That's why he didn't come here. Everybody wasn't on the same page about Aaron Jones or signing Tony Pollard. Like when the fan base is fractured, it gives the front office the ability to do whatever the hell they want to do. But if the fan base is saying, no, we want this. This is what we want. And that's what it's going to take. And
we saw that when we were screaming for for McCarthy to get the ball to Cooks. And next thing we know, out the bye week, we saw motion. We saw Cooks getting the ball.
Give the keys to that. Like, all of that stuff.
Right.
Get Zeke out of there. Make Zeke Rico RB1. RB1 now. So, fans have to just put the pressure on the front office. Because, yes, they're going to tell you that same BS. Oh, no, yeah, we can't afford it because we only got so much. It's the same shit Stephen been saying since he been here. Like, he ain't never going to knock it. If you ever think Stephen Jones, Jerry Jones going to go out in the mic and say, we're going to be big spenders this offseason, we're going to spend money here, that's never, ever going to happen. So it's like, I'm not worried about, when I tell you, don't worry about it. Mike say, Jerry, Stephen, I don't care about nothing that they talk about. All I know is that once this season is finally over, we see who's going to be the head coach or whatever, then I can start to make content and say, this is what we need, and I'm going to do my best to keep pushing that ideas out there. Hopefully the fan base joins hands on specific players so that we can get some actual talent in here. Because I'm telling you one thing, you can go and get the best players in the draft. That's great, but you got to bring in free agents if you want to get over the hump. So fans know that. So the fans have to put pressure on them to say, just like they did in 2023 or in 2021 and 2020, you're going to have to go out there and get some actual quality free agents or trade for some people that can actually help your team. Because if you don't, you're going to keep hanging around the rim, and you're just going to continue to lose fan investment. Because I'm telling you what, I wasn't invested in this season at all. Like, you know what I'm saying? I know I was invested, but like I said, after the Panthers game, I'm not the Falcons game, I was just like, I'm done. You know what I'm saying? And I haven't been worried about it. I haven't been tweeting as much or making content. I'm just like, make content to do for what? Like, for what? I'm not, you know what I'm saying? So that's just,
I definitely feel you, sis. I mean, like you said, just when you kind of see front office, you kind of see coaching kind of slacking off a little bit, not going the full 100%. It kind of just leaves, at least for me, it kind of leaves you feeling like like you said, you kind of see some semblance of trying, but at the same time, you kind of see them not really putting forth the full effort. So it's just kind of like, which one do you want to do? Do you want to because like you talk about we talk about the fan base being split. Do we want to tank? Do we want to cheer for the team? Do we want to do this? I was looking at the front office. I'm looking at the organization. Like, do y'all want to tank? Do y'all want to, win? Do y'all want? Does the coach want to win? We see the players. We see what the, even when Michael was first coming back, talking about we're still a good team. We can do this. We can try to stick it to the playoffs. Blah, blah, blah. And that's another way I saw him kind of showing his leadership. Right out the gate, coming back from his injury, even though Dak went down, he said, okay, like you mentioned earlier, okay, now me and CD got to be the guys now. We said we're going to step up. Now we're stepping up in our own individual ways, but we're still standing behind this team and trying to lift our guys up. But like you said, I mean, like I was saying earlier, it's just like you don't know what your front office is doing. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what your coaching is doing because you don't see effective play calling. So it's just like, fans can kind of get, kind of disheveled about what they're doing. Imagine how the players feel. Like, you don't know if the coaches are fully behind you. You don't know if your owner, your COO is fully behind you because they're talking about money. They're talking about what they may not have for next year before the season's even over, before you do lose players, before you do get in free agents.
Yeah, and it's also shout out to Micah because Micah is putting pressure on Jerry with whether it's who we draft, bringing in some other free agents. So it's up to the leaders as well.
Yeah.
Start speaking to the media and saying we want to get players in here signed. Like, it's up to the players as well because the fans, we can do something. But the actual players, like Micah did, like Dak did, hopefully CD joins in, Trayvon did. All of y'all need to start opening up your mouths and complaining and saying, we need to bring in this specific player. Go up to Jerry's office. Micah, you said you and Jerry cool. Y'all close.
Right.
Y'all have hard ties together. That's great. We'll be telling him this is who we need to sign and be relentless about it until Jerry does it. Point blank, plain and simple. And it's going to be interesting to see how this is going to turn out with Micah's contract. Is Jerry just going to sign Micah or is he going to do dumb shit? Like, let's make Micah miss all of camp and all of the OTAs and then let's sign him the day before the season starts.
Right.
So, and we already know players don't really have good seasons when they miss camp unless you're a freak of nature like Aaron Donald because he's the only one who did it.
Exactly. And we're seeing that not necessarily...
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no! I was just gonna say that we're not necessarily seeing it, because CD is still playing, but he's missing, sometime in the games. He's definitely beat up, taking a lot of hits. He fell behind early in the season, trying to learn the language. So it's just like it not only affects the player itself, but also affects the team because if you don't have at the same time the other guys stepping up, you're kind of putting more pressure on CD or the sole leader who you look to be that kind of spark for the offense. But it's just like, if he can't produce, imagine how CD feels. You know what I'm saying? We aren't necessarily putting pressure on CD, but we're looking to CD. They're looking to CD to kind of put a spark. CD is looking to himself to create a spark. So you can only imagine the pressure that CD puts on himself. You know what I'm saying? Kind of being out of the game, being on the sideline. Like you said, you can kind of see it in his demeanor. You can kind of see it, even scoring a touchdown. I didn't even know that, after he scored a touchdown, they said that was his first touchdown in 5 games. So you said, even though, he didn't necessarily show excitement, I'm sure you're glad he got the touchdown, but it's just like, you just see that he's just so spent. Like and I mean, I'm sure that the players on the team itself are spent, like everything we think as fans, we've gone through it as fans. Like imagine, like I was saying, just imagine how the players feel just going through everything they're going through on top of how to deal with the front office, dealing with games. And
yeah, it's exhausting. And it's like, if y'all don't want another season, and what's up, Smoke? One for you, got to see you. And
that's good, Smoke.
Said Dak is in the booth trying not to laugh. Nobody can do more with less other than a woman. That's facts. That's funny. But
yeah, shout out to Dak too. Hey, baby number 2. Okay, Dak. I don't know if you saw that, sis. He like the Dak. Dak said, like, I'm on vacation, y'all. I don't know what y'all doing, but
not let Sarah have no rest at all. But Sarah don't want rest either. She look like one of them types. But anyway, anyway, I think that the players, y'all gotta start speaking out. CD, You tired of getting bracketed? Your ass better start going on podcasts and saying, you know, I would love to have Luther Burden
Right.
here. I would love to have Isaiah Bond. Start naming names. Like if
Right.
y'all want to change and y'all want to, what's up, Lee
Hey,
Harrison?
what's good, Lee?
Change
Facebook Vibe. What's up? What's up?
and y'all won't, you're gonna have to start being vocal about it and go straight to the media, just like Jerry does. You don't have to be disrespectful,
Right.
but start do it. Go on this person's show. Go on Pat McAfee. Go on Rich Eisen so that people can start writing articles. Micah Parsons said it would be that the Cowboys should draft Ashton Genty. CeeDee Lamb said it would be great to have someone pair with him, maybe Isaiah Bond or Luther Burden, or maybe
Right.
Traytoria McMillan. Like that's what you're going to have to do. If you want Jerry and them, you're going to have to put pressure on them to get what you want. Because if you just stay silent, nothing's going to happen.
Facts. And
Nothing.
I definitely agree with you because, like you said, on the fans can only say so much, but because not saying they, I'm sure they look at us as quote unquote noise, but when you start hearing your actual players talking about what they want, and you start, we talk, you mentioned earlier about a disgruntled employee, like, imagine, like you said, imagine if 4, 5, 6 players start talking about hey, we want this, and constantly keeps growing in the media. Our media, does not shy away from putting stories out. So I'm sure it would take no time for it to kind of grow and create a story, and the questions start being asked. And we saw how Jerry felt answering some of them quote unquote pressure questions coming out of them losses. You know what I'm saying? so imagine if we start putting that pressure on, as fans start putting that pressure on him again. Imagine that pressure kind of coming from his players, actually coming from within. Actually coming from within the organization. I think that's a great point, sis. I think you're right on that. The players do start speaking out. I think it definitely holds, a lot more weight. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully you would think would kind of, make Jerry think a little bit more, make Steven think a little bit more about kind of reaching out to the free agency market.
They have to. Like it's inevitable, and you can't just joke about it. You're gonna have to start going to the press and letting it be known plain and clear who you want to bring in, what you think the team needs, because that's the only way that change is going to come with Jerry, and it's called peer pressure. The players also need to start complaining about the curtains, because see, when the fans complain about it or the media, Jerry thinks we're dumbasses, so he's like, "Shut the f up."
Right.
Just tear the whole stadium down and saying stupid shit like that. But guess what? If
Right.
players start going to media and saying these curtains are an effing disaster and it's causing us to lose games, then Jerry will probably listen.
Right, and just on that last point before we close out, like imagine if players were actually speaking about that, because it's funny because when of course when that happened, they people were bringing up clips from years ago, Michael Gallup having to fight that same son, what I'm saying, years ago. So imagine if years ago if players actually spoke up and say, hey, these curtains are in the way. These curtains are just distracting. These curtains do this, or not even just the curtains, but different things that could affect the game. We want this player. We want these players. Back then we didn't have free agency. So just time is a mother. You know what I'm saying? In all type of aspects. So if should coulda woulda. If it was a fifth, we all be drunk, but. If you just talk about these things, and like I said, it's over time, if the players maybe speak out about these things, the curtains will be closed. You know what I'm saying? We could have these free agencies or
Yeah,
free agents in the building. You know what I'm saying?
start using
It's
their,
a-
if they're tired of shit the way it's going, they better start using their
Exactly. They're using their platforms to kind of
that,
promote what they want to sell. They have their podcast. Why not talk about, and that's where we heard about Micah and CD wanting to be leaders. We kind of took it for their words, and they're standing on it. You know what I'm saying? They're kind of putting into action what they spoke about last year. So, that could, that I think that's a great point you bring up.
yeah, they've got to do it. They've got to start speaking out. They've got to start, you know, telling their truth. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the only way you're going to get Jerry and them to, because if not, they'll just continue to operate the way they operate. And Nisi, yeah, that's a good deal. Whoever James Slater, like I said, Rich Eisen, you go on Pat McAfee, you can do whatever you want, but go and find somebody that you can. Jory Epstein, go and put a nugget in there. Here,
Yeah.
this is what I want, so you can get the articles out. So that it's clear that if the front office is clear at that point, If you come out and definitively say, I wanted this, and then the front office does opposite, then that takes all blame off of you. And then now you can begin to say, well, I was clear in the offseason about who I was.
Exactly. Exactly.
And they chose to do this. So it's like, now you're going to have more pressure from the fans because it's like, oh, so y'all are actively, y'all don't give a F about y'all players. Y'all don't give a F about trying to help your players or consider anything that they say. Y'all just going to continue to do whatever the hell y'all want, regardless.
Right.
So that that's how you put the front office in that predicament. But if you don't talk about it or you don't say anything, then the front office can Jerry can continue.
Exactly. They'll keep getting away with it. That's one thing I'll take away from the season is that we are now starting to see the mainstream media actually say, Jerry didn't make any moves in the offseason. The front office didn't do this. They didn't.
Yeah. Now the main
Exactly.
Jerry, like Mina Times, so like they're calling Jerry out. They're like, Jerry, you're the problem. Like you can
Right.
blame Mike McCarthy, you can blame Dak, you can blame whoever, but at the end of the day, you're the problem because y'all haven't won a Super Bowl in 30 years. It's not like you was winning Super Bowls and then we got Dak and we got Mike McCarthy without winning.
Exactly.
No, it's like y'all haven't won in 30 before Dak was even in the NFC.
Right. Pretty much for all these players. For real.
McCarthy, I think he wasn't here in the 90s, but I don't think Mike McCarthy wasn't no head coach, nothing like that in the 90s. I think he was still in college.
I think he was,
a college coach. So it's just like very. But anyway, we appreciate all of y'all so much. Y'all have been great. First, I was like, dang, ain't nobody in here, but y'all came on slowly. Like,
right. Really crazy.
So we appreciate all of y'all. Y'all are so great.
Yes, we do.
Continue to push through to this season. I think we'll have 4 more games left, thank God. And then we finally get on to the hope of 2025.
Right. Yeah, and actually we'll be able to watch some playoffs, y'all, kind of stress free, ain't gotta worry about, are we gonna be out first round? Are we gonna
all of our ops fail and we can get
right.
Because
right. Let's see what y'all Commanders can do. Y'all finally got a quarterback. Y'all finally got a wild card spot, a playoff spot. Let's see what y'all can do. You know what I'm saying? With all y'all need was a quarterback, right? You know what I'm saying? Hey, appreciate you, David, and hope you have a blessed evening as well. And like Star was saying, thank you everybody for joining us. Hope everyone has a blessed evening.
Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Appreciate y'all.
Right. Yeah. Hit up our. Make sure if you guys, in the given mood, hit up our Cash Apps as well. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, hit up our Cash App. Can you see? Oh, you gotta take off that banner.
Oh yeah. When we head out of here, let me see. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, make sure you guys hit the Cash Apps.
If y'all feel like y'all would like to bless us with a couple of dollars, we would really appreciate that. That would definitely help us for sure.
Yeah. And True Cowboy coming in right under the wire. What's up, fam?
Came in late, but you can always replay it back and rewatch it. But anyway, thank y'all so much. Love y'all. Hopefully we'll be able to do a show next evening. If not, then we'll do it.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, we'll probably do. Might have one show before Christmas. I think that following week is after Christmas. So yeah,
we'll probably do one show before Christmas. Hopefully, if not Wednesday, then I'll try to do it some other day for sure to give y'all at least one more show before Christmas.
Yeah. But anyway, so make sure you guys enjoy the holidays. Spend time with your loved ones, and make sure you guys enjoy it. If you guys have any time off, make sure you guys enjoy the time off too. I mean, I'm sure time off during the year isn't easy to get. So just make sure you guys enjoy this time, with the family and loved ones, and get some rest too. Happy holidays to everybody, and happy holidays, Star. Thank you for joining me, sis. Really appreciate your time. Like I was talking about earlier, I know it'd be crazy and busy during this time, so really appreciate you, sis.
All right.
Appreciate everybody for coming through. Love you guys. See y'all.